Let's start from this move here. Tyrese Bailey, another newcomer. Josiah Edwards. Lots of red shirts in the area. Troubles the keeper, and well, he does get some help from his defense, as that one is headed well clear. But there has been one change in the goals from the initial team sheet that we saw. Aaron Enel will start on the bench, a late change. As Caledonia look to attack from the opposite end. Well, that's a big glaring error, and finally just corrects himself there. Jelani Peters. Here's Daniel David, and Isaiah Lee for company, one of the goal scorers in Point Fortin. Oh, that's clever, Daniel David, and this time he just gets out of the way of a crunching challenge. You'll experience Carlisle Mitchell. Oh, it's too long for anybody as Jabari Bryce gets involved. Of course, Noah Tulogera in the lineup. Real Gill, Time Thomas had made the switch earlier last season.
Even Russ Russell Jr. as well.
Russ Russell Jr. as well, absent from the lineup. Caleb Sturge as well. Certainly lots of changes made to the squad.
Right away, tactically, they've set up different, James. As you know, normally in the first half of their games, Terminix and Horquetta Rangers, they defend quite deep. Already they're engaging their opponent a little bit higher up the park, so that's one change. That was certainly identifiable with them. I wonder what other changes they have in store.
Daniel Cyrus. Well over 50 caps for Trinidad and Tobago national team, and from Plymouth, Tobago. We have some quality to call off the bench. No Javi Morris in the starting lineup today, or Joel Leslie Russell, both being utilized off the bench. Of course, the secondary school player of the year in 2022, Tariq Lee, also on the bench this evening. That's well won by Caledonia.
It's a good run.
Tevin Scott trying to find inroads. And maybe Sean Daly, well, needed to put it a few yards wide of that big man. It's not going to be the easiest to beat in goal, Jabari Bryce.
Yeah. It's a good shot. It's far out. I don't think had enough venom in it to trouble Bryce.
That was the aim that Tyrone Charles didn't find him on that occasion. Well, they do like to possess the football, Caledonia AIA. Carlisle Mitchell gets involved. Another player with significant international caps and experience to his belt, Williams. This time, it's Terminix Rangers that intercepts the danger.
I think all eyes, James, will be on this Terminix Horquetta Rangers team. It's very easy to accept that they underachieved last season. They came in as heavy favorites coming into the league. Really floundered throughout the league and had some surprising results. So you just wonder what they're made of this season.
Certainly the question on everybody's lips. Solomon Austin, Mitchell.
Let's go back to the strategy of old, James. Defending quite deep.
You expect that Caledonia, though they've lacked some quality, do like to possess it, and you expect that Daniel Cyrus will be as aggressive as ever in defense.
Well, I've never understood why they've done it, Horquetta Rangers, because it's a team that has done so well at home. Teams do have a fear coming here. Instead of playing on the front foot, you drop off and allow teams to settle into games. Certainly not a tactic that I would use personally, but nevertheless, that's what they've decided to do.
Shade. Got a nice shape about them. Caledonia couldn't break down the red shirts that time. Oh, maybe now they can. Just hesitated. Can they keep possession well? Went down 2-0. AC Port of Spain last week. Now, oh, pulling all the screws at the moment. It's a corner. Well, certainly got quality on that bench there, Terminix Rangers. This is promising. Price does get a portrait. And finally, Isaiah Lee and company are able to get the danger away. Well, he's got some pace about him. Lee does get a foot in, but it still kept alive, and it's in a dangerous area. Easy catch in the end for the goalkeeper. Alert and ready.
Well, that's where they're dangerous, James, in transition. Counter-attacking team that has the pace. As I mentioned in the build-up, they're really going to have to pay attention to Isaiah Lee in particular, and the pace of Bailey as well on the other side. Both players are speedsters that enjoy getting ahead of the football.
Think of the likes of Josiah Edwards being used to the middle. Almost seems criminal with his pace. Scott. Ali. Big boot out. Lee doing well to...
Yeah, it's great skill.
Peter's man, he does need some support now. Does win a throw. Another player that has been used in a number of positions, Isaiah Lee. Can play in several positions. It's Tyrone Charles. Did get an opportunity for the Trinidad and Tobago national team in recent matches. Was injured though in a match prior to the USA game. Oh, certainly got their wires crossed, and Caledonia struggling to clear the danger. Finally, a rash challenge from Lee gives them back possession. Certainly an interesting contest in terms of the shape of both these teams, the way they set up. Teams, of course, very wary of the pace of the Terminix Rangers attack. Well, he's looking some space here. And we'll try again. Mitchell. Oh. Certainly had an idea. Azarius Ali didn't pick up reception though. Did start his career as an attacker, Carlisle Mitchell. Did go through the Joe Public ranks before playing for a number of teams abroad, both in the US and in Europe. Mitchell certainly does have tremendous composure. Both teams, well, very chess-like in their setup and approach to the early part of this game. Oh, that's good. It's opened up some space in the middle. And it's very good defending from Daniel David, getting a boot on it.
Not the type of pace and tempo that we saw in the first game. Both teams are feeling each other out. Trying to probe and push and looking to find spaces in behind.
Well, maybe they might find it here.
That's a good touch. I tell you what,
Oh,
James.
has been fouled. He certainly has, and will be a free kick. A dangerous area. Did manage to get in momentarily.
Yeah, and that man Josiah Shade being found out of position. It's #1 principle in defending. One says time and space, James, you drop off and you make sure you can see the opponent in front of you, not at the side. Once you're at the side, you're always going to be beaten. And because Josiah Shade picked up the wrong position with that principle engaged, now they have a free kick.
Daniel David.
Tell you what.
Oh, did get some joy. Just didn't drop in for Tyrone Charles. He's been consistent in scoring goals. Certainly had a late resurgence to his career, Tyrone Charles. Perhaps his greatest joy was the caps he received. Stephen Hart, the former national coach, during that era, where himself and Nathan Lewis in particular, some of the local players that largely employed by Hart, did seem to fall off the scene after that before Ascension tournament, where he came back with a bang. Has been scoring goals ever since. Oh, it's 50-50. Solomon Austin was able to get there first, though, and it will be a throw. This is Sylvester. Daniel Cyrus. Start the season last year at Central FC for making the move back to Terminix Rangers. And this will be Furs to collect. Denzel Fur in goal this evening for Caledonia. Surprise change, Aaron Enel, initially on the team sheet slated to start. Did have a fantastic game against BC Port of Spain.
I was about to say, easily, if Caledonia had went on to win that match, James would have been the man of the match, because he pulled off some special saves that encounter. And it's probably a bit more than just him not being able to start. There's probably something in it, because certainly easily one of the top players on show that night.
Certainly one of the top goalkeeping talents in Trinidad and Tobago, Aaron Enel, was slated by many to be the heir to Marvin Phillips' #1 position. When he was at the Defence Force, he did have his troubles. Came out of the game and then he returned with Caledonia.
Happy to see him back, though, especially with the display that he had last week. I think he single-handedly thwarted AC Port of Spain for long periods of that game.
So having a conversation with a group of goalkeeper friends last week, that match at the Arima Velodrome, Joshua Lamb and Jefferson George, and well, they all agreed that certainly it's top quality. Oh, this match needs some quality to take off the snooze button. Oh, maybe that. How about that for quality? Must have been listening. Haven't enjoyed a large percentage of the ball, but maybe now Isaiah Lee could change that for Terminix Rangers.
That's a great run. It's got to finish.
Oh, yeah, that's a great challenge from Ronell Paul. And easy in the end for Fur. It's the first sign of life that we've seen from Terminix Rangers in the last few minutes. Ali. Ball broken up by Daniel David, wearing the number 10 this season.
Yeah, he hasn't put a foot wrong so far. David in the middle of the park. I know, a player that you rate quite highly, James.
It's nephew of one of the best ever locally to wear the number 10, Cohen Jamut. And when you come from that stock, the expectation is always high. Well, that's a foul. Play with it, Cohen Jamut.
Yeah, at youth level. And I've seen him done some things. As we have another look here at the infringement. Very late. Tap on the ankle by Therese Williams on Tyrone Charles. He was just one of those players that could do things with the ball that many players can't. I think his problem was that consistency at the very, very top level, he didn't have that. And I think that's the difference between, of course, being internationally great and being a folklore hero.
Well, look at this. Certainly was worth a go, and might have been a different story had he had a bit more power on it. This is promising. That's great from Lee. Oh, here's Isaiah Lee. 1-0.
Yeah, it's poor defending. Really, really poor defending by Austin. But take nothing away from that man in the picture. What a touch. I'm sure Bryce would take some of the goal-scoring bonus off of Lee for that terrific kick. Look at that for a bit of skill. Plots it into the back of the net, but it really started with poor positional play by Austin. We saw similar from Shade on the left-hand side. Austin picking up a poor position, really left his defenders with no chance after he got past Austin. And there's nothing the goalkeeper could have done. And Isaiah Lee, just like that, put Rangers up by 1-0.
Oh, what a silky touch from Isaiah Lee. Oh, tell you what, can kiss a butterfly with the tenderness of that. 1-0 to Terminix Rangers, 19th minute. By the number 19, Isaiah Lee.
We talked about positioning, James, as a defender. Moments before that, Shade, poorly positioned, ball over the top, beaten. And this one, of course, with Austin. I just wonder, you're looking at a ball that's been punted at least 50, 60 yards. You have to see that coming and position yourself. You look at where you are in relation to where your attacker is, and you have to give yourself some depth, especially knowing the type of attacker you're up against in Isaiah Lee that has a bag of pace and skill. You want to make sure you give yourself every room to face him up.
Oh, here's a man. Question, Lee. Daniel David. Does have an engine on him, Daniel David. Seems to be everywhere. One of the young products of the Trendsetter Hawks Academy. Dada Wickham. Academy that certainly produced names that might seem very good in this league. But here's a name that will be looking to make a name for himself, but he just couldn't get direction on it, Tevin Scott.
Yeah, it was poor. He really should have finished. And we've seen him get into those sorts of positions last week as well. And he just lacked the conviction, really, to put the ball into the back of the net. A mistake at the back by Rangers. He's gone clear, Scott, and just hits the turf before he could properly connect with the ball. It needed that quality finish. Certainly one with confidence and conviction. Another giveaway by Rangers.
Well, they have to be careful.
Yeah.
It's one goal separating them.
And they're giving the ball away in dangerous positions because...
So easily could have been 1-1.
Yeah.
Oh, you're well past the 20-minute mark. And it's the boys in red that lead men in blue by 1-0. Heavy touch from Scott. Somehow manages to keep possession. Well, this is looking, but Daniel Cyrus was well aware of the danger. And so too was Jabari Bryce.
I was about to say, I thought he did well to keep it in play. They don't necessarily paint a picture of confidence. The back line of Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, they have been breached on a couple of occasions. Certainly not a fortress back there. I think Caledonia would fancy their chances of pulling one back.
Oh, they need some good service. And Carlisle Mitchell, it's on frame. But he just got his big frame in the way. Jabari Bryce, who seemed to be beaten for a second.
I just wonder how that stayed out, really, because like everything else was done right. Bryce was certainly beaten.
I think there might have been a touch ahead of him. You can judge for yourself here.
Yeah, it's a good ball in there. Carlisle Mitchell does what he does so well. Bryce is looking a relieved man at best. Extremely happy.
Austin. It's Mitchell. It's Ronell Paul. He's been using a centre-back position today. Much different tactical position from when we saw him on Sunday. He's used just ahead of the defense. Austin. Paul. This pass is easily picked off, but Scott sees it for Caledonia. And that's a corner.
They're not out of this one, Caledonia. They're still asking the questions of Terminix La Horquetta Rangers.
To be fair, you might think a moment of quality is just what separates the teams at the moment. Don't think any team has outplayed the other. Can Azarias Ali provide the spark for the Morva men? Or maybe here. It's well blocked. They've been forced to defend for large periods of this match, Rangers. Something that they've done comfortably for the most part. Well, that's speculative as bets. And wayward.
Here's another set play into the box. It eventually comes out. And it's well spanked there by Daly. But there was a sea of red that certainly would not allow that to go through. I said, James, Horquetta have, although leading this game, I wouldn't say necessarily they have dominated this game. It's been in the balance, and Caledonia has certainly been active part of everything with this game. That's risky by Mitchell.
Oh, wrong person to be risky wrong, but he makes amends.
Well. Yeah, very well. I think he probably lost the flight of the ball, and eventually it took it on his chest.
Doesn't look too perturbed. Denzel Fur. His eyes on the prize ahead of him. Handball. Right on spot, the referee Keelan Bacchus.
Risky.
But he has gifted possession. Right back to the Horquetta men. And the Red Ants are swarming forward. Sylvester. Will be a Horquetta throw. Got time to welcome all of our viewers from across the Caribbean and the world, viewing via the FIFA Plus app. And of course on SportsMax. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, the home of the TT Premier League. This match, of course, is second of a double-header played at this venue. Prior to this match, Tiger Tanks Club Sando were 1-0 winners. They defeated Central FC, goal by Chevronez Hernandez. At the moment, Rangers lead by a 19-minute strike from Isaiah Lee over Caledonia. Yes, Josiah Edwards. We'll need to retake that. Not better the second time around. And, well, that's not going to count. Might just have drifted offside there.
Say, it looks like fractions, really. Initial ball, not a good one. Got a second chance. But eventually there, man, Joseph straight offside.
Scored one of the best goals of the season. Well, assisted one of the best goals of the season, the Rabona pass last year. Jaheim Joseph getting an opportunity to start this time. Well broken up by Daniel David.
Too early. You got to drive with it. Well, reprieve.
Well, maybe now.
Oh, I tell you what.
Looks tricky.
Yeah, it was clumsy.
It's a penalty.
Yeah, it was clumsy. And
spoke about the pace of the road runner. Well, I tell you what, his road was cut short. Yeah, but he's won his prize.
Yeah, and Paul did everything to try to make this a legal challenge, but never played the ball, James, and that's the problem. He played the body. And once you do that, it's always going to be a penalty kick.
Oh, who's up for it? It will be the captain, Tyrone Charles, with an opportunity to put some more daylight between the teams. Ronald Paul's not happy. That thing at the bottom left of your screen, the reason why. Can Tyrone Charles put Rangers 2 goals clear? Of course he does. That's what he does well. Well, he had the confidence of a Boy Scout, Tyrone Charles, and the accuracy of a killer.
Well taken spot kick. Cool as you like. I don't think many goalkeepers can reach there. Well, I don't think many humans could reach there. Back stanchion. Great technique. Savable height. But I dare you. Second goal to Terminix Horquetta Rangers. And you might say, James, that they're starting to see some daylight.
At the half-hour mark, Rangers, they lead by 2 goals to 0. I tell you what, the Moncton It's being developed between the teams at the moment. Caledonia has got a steep climb ahead of them. They are to get something from this contest.
Well, I think before the second goal, they started to show signs, Caledonia, and maybe they may count themselves as unlucky. But this is a place that when you do get even the slightest of chances, gilt-edged chances, you have to make them count, and they didn't. And now the next goal, the all-important one, could decide whether or not they're back into this game or it's a game-set match. And I say that, James, because I do feel there's still more goals in this game.
Spall is challenged, gifting the penalty to Rangers moments earlier. Goal finished in the 30th minute by Tyrone Charles, who certainly gets his campaign off to a good start. Oh, they're going to be happy to hold on to this for a second. Nunez. And, expected more quality from him there. Well, that's type of position. Jariel Nunez. It's Carlisle Mitchell. Wants movement ahead of him. Ali. Good area. Good touch as well. Magic maybe. Oh, so close. They're getting better.
Yeah, Scott again with the chance. Seems like he does all the hard things right and comfortable. But the execution and the finishing is where he seems to have a little bit of a challenge. And sometimes for a striker, all it takes is a one goal to go in, and all of a sudden, everything goes in.
Connecting dots now.
Yeah.
It's a foot race on. And it's a foot race that is easily won by Nunez. Well, somebody has a thought.
Tell you what.
Wasn't a bad thought either. Maybe some more action. Oh, that's not going to find anybody.
Yeah, that's wayward.
In the intended address. Lee. Charles. Oh, look at this.
That's
maybe a chance for a second and a third for the Red Ants. Terminix Rangers 3-0. And the result starting to appear out of sight. A second for Isaiah Lee and the Holy Trinity for the boys in red.
I tell you what, when you talk about a classy goal, well put together, the back heel by Tyrone Charles in the path of Lee, and he makes absolutely no mistake. Calm finish by Isaiah Lee. I know at some point the producer is going to ask you for the man of the match. I can tell you early. There you are. 3-0 to Terminix Horquetta Rangers. And it's the Isaiah Lee show.
Well, the fans certainly enjoyed what they saw. Beautiful team goal. As beautiful as any Picasso image you'll ever see.
I know I saw the national head coach in the facility early on. It's Coach Jerry Moores. I would think he's left speechless. And really and truly, when you look at this game, I think 3-0 could be a bit flattering for Terminix Horquetta Rangers, because Caledonia have had their moments. They just haven't been as clinical as Rangers have been. I was just about to say, James, I saw the national coach, Angus Eve, a bit earlier. He normally has a lot of question marks around some of your selection suggestions. I wonder if you threw out the name Isaiah Lee, if he would have any remark.
I guess what? I'm not going to mention it.
It'd really be good to see, though, a player coming out of this league. Of course, the next all-important game is in March against Canada in a one-off game to go to Copa America. And it would be nice to see a player that catches form here in this domestic league being part of that thrust.
Well, he did mention part of the Achilles heel of the last campaign is the fact that a lot of the local players are out of season. Match fitness was something that was lacking. Certainly that this league is going to be up and running up until that time.
Yeah.
Daniel David, good touch from Fur. Hasn't done much wrong, but he's been beaten 3 times already.
It was really ill-advised to play that straight pass in there.
Getting a lot closer to the halfway mark. And well, one team's smile is a lot broader than the other. Well, I'm not sure they have a smile at all. The men in blue haven't smiled since the opening goal went in. And, well, that has increasingly become inverse as the match has progressed. Maybe Scott can give them a reason to.
He's got to shoot.
Just lacking the weight on the pass.
Well, it's the killer instinct that you need in front of goal. And that's the difference between the both teams. Terminix and Horquetta Rangers have been clinical. We have a cross-section of the crowd there. Certainly these home fans have been well entertained. Certainly from a home team winning perspective. I think Caledonia look a bit light when it comes to that side of it, reaching into the attacking third and getting closer to the goal. Scott in particular does a lot of nice build-up work, but the actual finishing of it, I think, is where they're lacking, and it's
really is a difference at the top level, you feel?
Yeah, I would think so. And when you look at Charles and Isaiah Lee in particular, 2 players that would arguably fit into any team here locally in Trinidad and Tobago. And the reason because they are ruthless at what they do, and that's finishing and putting teams under pressure.
Oh, might know that face with the Lakers cap on. Lindell Sween, perhaps coming to support his good friend Nathan Kwashi. Would have enjoyed a win with his new team this season. Of course, his coach, Jerry Moe, at the helm of this Caledonia team as well. Should see him in action later this season, also at Caledonia. Well, Bryce couldn't hold on. He needed to hold on, and he finally does.
He's a lucky boy. Really is a lucky boy. Because he was flapping and floundering, and somehow the ball rebounded back into his pathway.
That's a good challenge. Ali Lee has been fouled.
So I'm going to look at it here. It's a good ball in there by Ali. It's flighted, flaps and flounders, and somehow it gets back to him.
Luck always seems to be on the side of the victors, doesn't it?
I was about to say the side of the goalkeepers.
Well,
unless your name is Onana, that's another story in itself.
Certainly he's having a poor rut at the moment, Angie Onana. He certainly is a top goalkeeper. Followed him at Ajax, but he just hasn't been able to rebound after coming back into international duty. He was banned for a year at one point.
I think it's always a challenge playing at that level It's a different pressure. When you hear top players talk about it, the pressure playing for Manchester United or the pressure playing for a Real Madrid or Barcelona. It's a different type of pressure, and especially for goalkeepers, because you're constantly under scrutiny. There's any little thing that you've done, you could have, of course, 15 great games and they have one poor one, and you're splattered all over the back pages, and that's the pressure.
Oh, you sure? Yeah. He's opened the door. So can he score? Tyrone Charles.
He shouldn't have shot. Did need the power.
Might need a compass. Didn't find the direction he was aiming for.
Yeah, but it didn't need the power. It just needed him to guide it in. Does all the work here. Cuts inside of his defender, shimmies, fakes. And right there, James, it looked like it took a bit of a deflection in second thought off of Paul, but I don't think the power was needed, as we see the man behind Terminix Horquetta Rangers.
Richard Ferguson, of course, Jamal Shabazz just ahead of him in black to the left of your screen. Gordon Peer as well.
The stars are out tonight.
Well, it's a bright night, isn't it? Is there a way back for Caledonia?
Well, only one way. They are creating chances, so that's the good thing.
Talking about creating chances.
This could be trouble.
Joseph had to hold on. He did. Well, let's see what could happen on the other end. Again, they've met some resistance. And, well, that's good hands in the end. Jabari Bryce. He is a big man, Jabari Bryce. He's got soft hands, though.
Well, I know you mentioned that he spent a lot of his time being an understudy. Sentele, who's moved on since then.
Oh, Dave Quamina. His job has been the easier of the two men in the dugout for this match. His job, well, it's increasingly difficult. Won't want to be in his position. Equations he has to solve.
Yeah, and I think a lot of his struggles lay with the lightness up front. As much as Scott provides a good outlet, you still need someone that could bang the ball into the back of the net. And all due respect to Scott, I just don't get that feeling when he is shooting on goal or trying to make a yard of space or so to try to put the ball in the back of the net. It just lacks that conviction. And if you have any doubts in what I'm saying, just juxtapose it against a Tyrone Charles or Isaiah Lee of what we saw tonight. Clinical once they get into those areas. There was no doubt that the ball goes in the back of the net.
30 seconds is what will be left of the 45. And there will be 2 that will be added to that. Scott just loses out to Joseph. Oh, confirmation that 2 minutes, still all that will be added. First half, that is. This could be promising, and this time...
Cleaner, to say the least. Cleaner player hands there.
Tell you what, Kwamina didn't have to breathe too hard for that one. Oh, look at this. Just gliding past everybody. And will he win a corner? Not quite through. been a tough night for that man in goal. And, oh, that won't trouble anybody. Into the final minute of the time that has been added. Scott. Is there to be some sort of lifetime to clutch on to going into halftime for Caledonia? Oh, they'll get another opportunity. Williams. Bodies of red ahead of him, and he does manage to win a free kick. So this might be the last bit of action caused by that. Caledonia certainly would love to have some consolation to hold on to at halftime. This is Ali. Well, it could fall nicely. That's a good touch defensively. Finally, Tyrone Charles gets it high, but not yet away. And Keelan Barkas has seen enough of the first half. 45 plus 2 completed. And it is the men in red, the Red Ants, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, who will go into the dressing room happiest at the halfway point. Goals in the 19th, the 30th. And a penalty from Tyrone Charles ensuring that they lead by 3-0 at halftime. We take a pause and we come back. It's halftime at the Lockers Recreation Ground, and it's the home team that are the happiest at the halfway point. 3-0, they lead Caledonia FC here in La Horquetta. Let's look back at some of the moments that, well, might make the team in red smile versus the one in blue. Let's start with Keelan Bacchus blowing the opening whistle. And Jelani Peters, one of the new signings. And how about this for an assist? Would win a corner. Caledonia, though, did start off quite brightly, holding a lot of the possession. Testing, of course, Jabari Bryce. Daniel David and company did provide some moments. So to this man, Isaiah Lee. Remember that name. And then that moment of magic, Lee. Now look at that. 1-0 to Terminix Rangers. Well, the touch of Angel. And the whole Shiggy. And that was the difference maker in the 19th minute by the number 19. At that point, you still wondered whether Caledonia AIA could still get back in. And they almost did. Scott, just moments later, straight at Bryce. Oh, well, that moment come back to haunt him. Then that happened, the collision, Ronell Paul. And that opened the doorway for Terminix Rangers to be in. And Tyrone Charles, does he miss? Well, answer that for yourself. Didn't on this occasion. That made it 2-0. And then by then, Isaiah Lee and Tyrone Charles were combining. And no, it wasn't Captain Planet, it was just Lee with the third. The old Jenga. And look at this to the finish. Nothing that Fur could do in goal. Isaiah Lee getting his second. The Red Ants, Terminix Rangers, the third. And that is what separates the teams at halftime, 3-0. Well, we've seen the pictures. Let's look at the numbers. And in terms of shots, well, certainly is a David versus Goliath in that regard. Just one shot on target for Caledonia. Fouls, well, has been a bit feisty, particularly on the Caledonia end, 7-3. And then corners, both teams having their share of corners, pretty even there. But it is the main stat at the top in red that makes the difference. Terminix Rangers 3-0 ahead of Caledonia. I've got Leo Chin and Brent Sancho standing by to break down the first half.
Yes, thank you, James. I am here with Brent. Brent, of course, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, the home team, in complete control. But your assessment of the first half as a whole?
Yeah, I think it has been a game where they've been very clinical, not necessarily dominating possession, but the moments that count in a football game, and that's putting the ball into the back of the net. And that's really the difference here tonight. Caledonia's had their moments, but the difference is, they just haven't shown the same sort of bite in front of goal. And that's why we're 3-0 to Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, and that's really been the difference.
Absolutely, and of course, we have to mention the performance of Isaiah Lee. Last season, they had the likes of Real Gill, Kaim Thomas. They are not here right now. Do you think that has motivated him to step up his performances this season?
Yeah, well, I think so. And I think one of the things you have to look at, he did have an injury hit last season. He didn't perform as much as he wanted to. You're coming into this season where, and I made the joke to James during the broadcast, that maybe he's now pushing and forcing himself into a national team selection. And I think that is what is looking like things are happening, because the kind of performance that he's put into that half, you're right, he's been exceptional. The difference in what he's good at is, of course, his pace, his directiveness, his ability to finish. And that's the difference in the game. He has certainly been a shark in front of the game. He's been one of the best players on show so far. And I've jokingly said, I know my producer normally asks around the 85th minute who's the man of the match. I've already let them know who I think it should be. And you look at some of the trick skills and what he's done, it's because of his pace, his directness, and his ability to what he's done. It has been very good.
Absolutely. And Brent, just quickly, I want to ask you, what do Caledonia have to do in the second half to come out better?
Well, first of all, I need to stop that man in the frame who's had an outstanding first half so far. He's Isaiah Lee. He's been given acres of space, and he's taken it, of course, and what he's done. And I think for Caledonia, they really have to find a way to be a lot more ruthless in front of goal. They've had opportunities, they've huffed and puffed, they've placed it around, but nothing really to get themselves back into it. And if they're not clinical in front of goal, and of course, stop Isaiah Lee and Tyrone Charles at the other end, it will be a long night for them. But of course, when you go into the second half, they've had a poor start to the season in their first game against AC Port of Spain. A similar type of situations where they met teams with a lot of productive players at the front end of the pitch. They have to find a way to stop that. And of course, as I said, they have to be clinical on the other side of the pitch.
Yes, and can we expect Terminix Horquetta Rangers to keep up this performance in the second half?
I think that's a good question. I think at the end of the day, we've seen them on many occasions drop off when they're leading games. They try to play in a low block. They try to invite teams to come into them, and they try to play, of course, on the counter-attack and in transition. I think in this game, we've seen a mix of approach by them so far. So probably they will go for the juggler. They're here in Terminix, in La Horquetta, sorry, where they're very comfortable in their skin, and they like pouncing teams here, down here at La Horquetta in phase 2. So I don't think they'll take the foot off the gas. I think they're going to go for more. They have some very, very capable substitutions on the bench. We may see some change in personnel, but certainly not a change in approach.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely see how the second half is going to play out. When we're back, it'll be a kickoff.
It's not the nightmare on Elm Street, but it's a nightmare in La Horquetta for Caledonia AIA. 3-0 down at halftime to Terminix La Horquetta Rangers with 45 more minutes to play. James Saunders is my name. Brent Sancho is alongside me as we get set for the second half of this TT Premier League match. And it's those boys in red that can smile at the moment. They've done the job at least half of the way. Another half to go. Caledonia, they've got equations to solve. And dare say not even Pythagoras might be able to give them the answers they require for the next 45, unless, of course, this game provides magic and moments of inspiration. Well, Jabari Bryce has kept a clean sheet so far, so too with the help of that man, Danil Cyrus. Tyrone Charles has been on the score sheet, the skipper. A penalty in the 30th minute. They would need at least 3 players to get on the score sheet, the men in blue. And perhaps more if they had to get more points out of this fixture. Well, the volume is being turned up around the ground. They can sense a party from a mile away, particularly when the boys in red are doing well. Morva Stallions, no points yet after 2 matches, well, 1.5 for that matter. And they will be searching to find something here. Rangers just out of the frame, making 3 changes. Tariq Lee, Antonio Cole, and Keyshawn St. Rose have come in. And I dare say, well, I dare ask anybody to question whether that's a downgrade by any stretch of the imagination. Tariq Lee, of course, the 2022 Player of the Season in the SSFL. Keyshawn St. Rose has scored goals at every level of football competition in Trinidad and Tobago. And Antonio Cole, perhaps the only real newcomer. Certainly a man of quality. Carlisle Mitchell, his experience needed. So Keelan Bacchus, he wants action. And action will be on the way in a few moments. Kevin Scott is ready to go. Halftime instructions still fresh in his ear. And, well, he will oversee the next 45 minutes. That begins now at the Lochta Recreation Ground. Terminix Rangers leading by 3-0. Here's Mitchell. Didn't mention the incoming changes. I can tell you one of those who've come out, Isaiah Lee, who's seen the end of his night. Tell you the others in a second. You would see confirmation of those on the screen shortly. Caledonia themselves have opted to make changes. One of them, that man on your screen, Sean Bonval, who's come in.
I think James would struggle to find any team in world football that makes 3 changes and they're 3-0 up.
Certainly might feel that they're quite comfortable at the moment. Here's another one, Antonio Cole. Might play through the center. Oh, that's a clever bit of footwork there. Tariq Lee getting his first touch. Bonval getting involved as well. Substitute versus substitute. Certainly got talent, Sean Bonval. Still yet to see the best of him though at the top level. Bryce. Time and space. It's aimed in at Lee. Just get a touch on it. And so too was that man, Keyshawn St. Rose, but play will continue. Well, can't find space to run into. Rahul Wilson And maybe Lee. As part of the St. Benedict's team who won the championship, and Keishon St. Rose just can't get the better of Carlisle Mitchell. Rahul Wilson. It's a foul. Paul. Mitchell being urged to use the space ahead of him. Oh, not the best of balls, and instantly lose possession. Oh, not the best ball you'll see all night. Bonval. Certainly got an increased tempo about their play now, Caledonia, from what we saw in the first half. Ball in a good area. Needs a shot. Maybe now. Again running into traffic. Sean Daly. And the Rangers are away to St. Rose. Edwards is on. Certainly got a booster pack on him, and needed some help from the defender to clear the danger. One of the first times we've seen Jamal Francois get ahead, but it started here, just taking too long to get one away, Daly, and it opened up an attack on the other side of the field. It's really the first time that we've seen Jamal Edwards get that far advanced. He's been utilized in a more central area in the first half. He's the younger brother, of course, of Jamal Francois, the AC Port of Spain attacker. He's out injured at the moment. He did break his leg at the end of last season. (3-0) Rangers. Comfortable at the moment. Not enough done by the Stallions to really shake the red three. Just a heavy push into the back of Edwards. So all cut out by Paul. Will be a throw to Caledonia. Certainly would have had the easier of the team talks at halftime, I can tell you that. Kwamina. The top left will give you an indication of the changes that were made. Note, it's quite a lot to digest. Oh, look at this. He's in. Whoa, just kept out.
Not a bad effort. Bonval. Maybe should have hit the target from that distance. But again, good play there by Scott. It's a difficult angle. It's asking a lot. And then whisk past the back post. Seem to have rejuvenated faith, Caledonia, since the start of the second half, despite being 3-0 down, and some area codes that might be considered insurmountable, but The men from Mova, they seem to be a spring in the step. Why not? They have absolutely nothing to lose but the fixture itself, which they're already losing.
Usually in video game parlance, that's where you hand over the control. 3-0 in the first half.
I think they're ready to do that, James.
Yeah, it's top level and usually have a bit more to give. We do want a bit quicker ball movement. Something that you can hear quite loudly from the sidelines. Oh, it's worth a chance or shot. And oh, got the reward of a corner. Some of the younger faces of the Rangers ranks. And see they haven't gotten involved. Daniel David, of course, one of those coming out. He's already joined them. Cam Thomas, a former member of the team, catching up with his old teammates. Of course, now with the defense force. Needs a good delivery. Zion Carpet couldn't bring it under his spell. And O'Neill Paul's speculative effort, well, it's gone to naught. Well, the news is that AC Port of Spain are 4-1 winners over Phoenix. Kadeem Corbin scoring a hat-trick, Cedil McLean getting the other. Phoenix they will have the consolation of finally getting on the score sheet. Mikel Jem Gordon opening his account at the top flight. Getting the consolation for them. Carpet. Better ball movement from Caledonia. Needed more accuracy though. Here's Edwards. Oh, anytime he runs at you, it's almost over. Start quick. Gone past 10 minutes in the second half. And Rangers still look as comfortable as ever, holding on to their 3-0 lead. Cyrus just got stuck under his legs. Need some inspiration. Carpet couldn't find it. St. Rose. Oh. How cool was that from Ronell Paul?
Well, despite the renewed energy by Caledonia, they really haven't flustered the Terminix La Horquetta Rangers rear guard, Etal. It's still been a situation where it's quite straightforward. And that man there in the picture, be hoping for at least an early strike, which could probably be the platform for them to return into this fixture, because as far as it is now, it's a tough one. But giveaways like that is not going to make it that straightforward.
Bonval feels he was impeded. Bacchus, the referee, has a different opinion.
Let's have another look there. That pushy to the ground quite early, Bonval. certainly provided a spark for them since he's come onto the pitch.
Yeah, he's been busy.
And again, everything is being played in front of Terminix Horquetta Rangers. Nothing penetrative, nothing line breaking. And you can take a look at Coach Dave Commoner. Still a lot of firepower on the bench.
He's wiggled himself out of trouble, Araujo Wilson.
That's a poor giveaway.
Spur. Carpet has to hurry here, and he was quick to get it away. God, he has Bonval making the run, and didn't spot him. Finally finds Bonval. Has to hand it off, you feel. Araujo Wilson getting his body in the way, Carpet as well. And away by Bailey, who's tripped up.
He's had a tidy afternoon as well, Bailey.
Is a nippy customer. Approaching the hour mark. Rangers in cruise control at the moment. 3 quality moments. The difference between the teams. Here's Scott. And, well, it's caught on the back foot there. Mavi Risme.
I think one thing's for certain, any team that comes up against Rangers would certainly have to be wary of their pace. They've shown it all afternoon. It's really hard to reach.
That was a hand Carpet giving it an effort. Fortunately, not all effort gets you an A+. Oh, have a second opportunity this time. Carpet, this time finding a red light. Oh, not quite sure, but the referee's determination there was spot on.
Well, he did look with appealing eyes for that kick, and eventually got it, because it did look like a 50-50 type of call. Despite Caledonia seeing the lion's share of the ball, they really haven't been able to penetrate Fortress Rangers. And really has, well, I tell you what, I thought St. Rose was onside.
Might be that man, Ronald Paul, who might have been fouled in the process.
Yeah, could be that. I wasn't sure about the offside decision, or the offside whistle, or possible offside. Maybe it's, well, looked like a frailing hand. Didn't really see much contact there, but didn't pick it up.
Certainly milked the situation there, Paul. Oh, Neville Hackshaw, TNT International midfielder in white, among the spectators. Plays in the USL, the second tier of US football. So let's look at what transpired earlier.
I'm not sure if it was a, oh, it looks like head collision. I didn't see any movement from the hands, and so it looked more like it was a collision of the heads. He's all right though. He's a tough boy. As a centre half, I'm very sure he's gotten a lot of those sorts of head collisions. It's one of those games where Terminix and Horquetta Rangers are very comfortable in their skin, and they don't have to go up a gear or down a gear. Just stay neutral.
Oh, that was a good service. Just missed the head of St. Rose. By the way, he picked up a yellow card for the last challenge. I'm a bit bemused by that. Didn't really see any malicious intent. Carpet has to hurry. Wasn't quick enough, but he wins a foul. Again, struggling to carve open spaces, and maybe this could be one for Bailey. Rangers.
Good ball. It's got to have one of the forwards darting across the first post to meet it. Instead, both attackers on their heels a bit. Not making that attacking run to the post. They look dangerous in transition, as they normally do, Rangers. Now with Tyrone Charles in possession here now, in a deeper line position and spraying passes. It's good to see the senior citizen of the team playing that number 8 role in the middle of the park. Very sure when he was told that at the halftime, he probably had a frown on his face. I would. Thoroughly enjoyed his stint up front with Isaiah Lee. Easy breezy. Now he has to go into the hustle and bustle of the middle of the park.
Certainly takes a different skill set, particularly.
Well, it takes a different set of lungs.
Yeah. Wow, there we go. Major difference. Can they come knocking? And Val couldn't find Carpet, but maybe Scott. A chance. Oh, that's in.
Yeah.
That's in. They needed some luck. But luck is all you've got, and they've taken their chance.
And you were hoping to see that sort of aggression, that sort of determination, that sort of being clinical in front of goal, and that's exactly what we want from Scott. Turns well here, slips a bit, creates his yard of space, gets a bit lucky with the deflection off of Cyrus. I'm sure he won't clear. Opening his account here in the TTPFL. And it's a good finish, good goal. And all of a sudden, Caledonia are trying to get back into this one.
But it certainly has instilled a level of belief. And they have a corner. Cyrus wants more from his teammates. Can't afford to get complacent. Here's Arajo Wilson.
That's a good service.
Oh, that's good. Now maybe two. Well,
what?
Tell you what, they had some luck earlier, and they had bad luck this time. He could have scored his second easily.
Just can't believe that stayed out. I thought he did everything right. Able to contort his body in the air. Ball comes in, heads it down, beats his marker. It just didn't go in. Bounces out and over the goal. Bryce a lucky man. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers a lucky club. And we stay at 3-1. And Caledonia now all of a sudden starting to make this one an interesting outing.
I'll tell you what, in the wink of an eye, could have been a totally different contest.
Well, and it's all been architectured by themselves, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. I go back to the changes, James. As the doctor says, if they ain't broke, don't fix it. There's nothing needed to be fixed there as it relates to Rangers and the way they played, and all of a sudden they're being overrun and overpowered in the middle of the park, and then questions are being asked on the defensive side.
And here's Zion Carpet.
It's good skill.
Gotten a half a yard in, gone to ground.
Nah, it's way too easy.
Not fooled referee Keelan Bacchus.
Yeah, he tried to get in on his man, but it's well defended at the end, and you have to give credit where credit is due.
Needed changes. Chevy Morris, Leslie Russell been sent to warm up.
Not surprised, is it really? Because a lot of questions have been asked of the back four in this second half, James. I think the biggest problem that Terminix and Horquetta Rangers have so far is that not being able to retain or hold possession for long enough further up the park. It keeps coming quickly back at them. This could be dangerous.
Well, that's a good save.
Top save. Did everything right, that man in your picture. Josiah Edwards cuts in. It's been a torment all afternoon. Just couldn't get it squeezing past the goalkeeper.
He made a good observation as well in terms of not being able to retain it high up the park. You look at the height of the attackers that have come in, and haven't really gotten a big man up there to hold it up. When you look at the likes of Carlisle Mitchell and Ronnie Paul, who are dominant in the air.
Yeah, and they had Tyrone Charles up front, who did a great job of holding it up. And then again, here comes another baffling substitution. The man that seems the most likely to score again has been taken off the park. And that's that man coming second off the park in Josiah Edwards. Well, it's certainly not a like for like. It's a defensive change.
Yeah, they've gone for the big men at the back.
Well, they've got big men in the back and big men in the middle. Be interesting to see how this impacts the way they play. They've brought in...
Philip Tinto has come in, by the way.
Just wondering, where would Russell and Morris take up spot? Because they've left in two centre-halves, unless they've gone 3 at 5 at the back, which it looks like they've gone. Because Russell's now going up for a header. And it looks like they've pushed Kyle Sylvester into the middle of the park to play the 6. So they've gone from a free-flowing offensive juggernaut to parking your bus a la Chelsea style with Jose Mourinho. in the space of 3 changes and a half.
You know, Caledonia, they'll certainly press them.
Was confirmation of the substitution, Daly for Tinto. In fact, Tinto coming on for Daly. They're going for it, there's no doubt about it, Caledonia. They've rolled the dice here. And they're pouring extra attackers on. And you can't blame them, really. Because they've really come to the party here in the second half. As I said, a lot of it has been the designs of Rangers and the baffling substitutions they've made so far. Here comes Bonval again. A lot of red shirts back there. Trying to cancel things out.
No way through that time. He will try again. Running into a red light. And Rangers push forward now. Certainly been gone a bit lighter at the top. Tariq Lee forced to do it all on his own and commencing the foul in the end.
It's been unfortunate there. There wasn't much support ahead of him. The man that won the SSFL League Championship with Terminix College last year. It's good to see he's made the progression to top flight football.
Tinto. Scott's pass goes awry. There's a whistle.
But I think the next 10 minutes or so, James, is critical for Terminix Horquetta Rangers and whether or not they can weather the storm. You just didn't think after the first half that they had that you'd be having that sort of conversation as a confirmation of the substitutions in your top left-hand screen. But I just can't move away from those changes that were made. Of course, if it was due to injuries, it is understandable, but not when you've been so dominant in the game. It's almost like you're making changes for making them sake. Obviously, our job here is really to try to project to our viewers what we may think the coaches and people on the sidelines are thinking and players are thinking. I can tell you, James, in all the years I've done it, I don't really know what and why.
Well broken up by Morris.
Especially kind of dominance that Isaiah Lee had in the first half. You just felt if you kept him on the pitch, he'd probably go into a hat-trick.
So think about Daniel David in the middle. Looked so comfortable in the middle.
Very comfortable. Again, sometimes where we sit, there may be an injury or something that is undisclosed to us. So we do hold that understanding, but from the naked eye, James, it's a tough one to swallow, really.
Haven't really found that presence up top. Brought on some talented players. Just feels since Tyrone Charles has dropped a bit deeper, they've lost that battle against the Rangers big men. Well, the Army. They're here, Elcock, having a chat with the man responsible for this league, Colin Worf. Looks like a very animated chat as well. Oh, look at that, Rangers almost extending the advantage. Keyshawn St. Rose. Played at Central FC last season. Oh, Jeffy Morris taking no chances.
I think a defender sometimes just like to feel what the turf feels like on the side of the leg, so it's a nice introduction to the game.
10-2. Well intercepted. And too far ahead of St. Rose. The old grass burners.
I'm very sure there's some pitches that you just don't do that on.
Certainly. I can tell you that from a goalkeeping perspective.
I can name several of them in Trinidad. At least 3 of them in North Trinidad.
Queen's Park Savannah, one of them.
Oh yeah, top choice, top destination.
Is there something still for Caledonia? Just over 11 minutes left. Regulation time at least. And still in search of another goal that could get them back in the contest. Ooh.
We've seen on a couple occasions, James, some of those big challenges that some of the players like to put in, like this one here. Nothing wrong trying to be aggressive in football. The concern is the follow-through, and in particular, in recent times, officials have been mandated to, of course, minimize those, and those are, in many occasions, James, we've seen given as a red card, particularly in the EPL, where it's VAR and other systems used to obviously look into those sorts of infringements. But we've seen a couple of those challenges already since the league have started, and just hope that the players understand that they are certainly putting not only the player that they tackle in danger, they're putting themselves in danger, being sent off, and putting a team in danger of playing at a disadvantage.
Oh, that was acrobatic. But it's a dangerous challenge as judged by the referee. Oh, it's a yellow card as well. SportsMax moment up. Look at this, the assist from Bryce. Look at this for a touch. Wow, can kiss a butterfly with that level of tenderness. Isaiah Lee putting his team 1-0 ahead. Earns him a SportsMax moment. Oh, he's gone into the naughty book. Jelani Peters was the man that made the challenge earlier near the corner flag.
Yeah.
Joshua Araho Wilson. Oh, Aiden Thinto thought for a second. He saw a gap. And this is a foot race you might enjoy, or maybe not. Zion Carpet.
It's a good ball.
Gets Araho Wilson. It's been very, very alive in the second half for Araho Wilson. It's Ronell Paul. Oh, just straight offside, didn't he?
Yeah, that's lazy. He's looking right along the line. Now he's in disgust with the linesman. He really needs to be in disgust with himself. Just look along the line. You can see if you are the furthest man. If you are, you step back onside. And that has broken the momentum of that attack. He's just trying to manage the clock right now and wind things down. Just amazed that they're playing these long balls up to 3'3" players against the likes of Paul and Mitchell.
Well, if they haven't learned a lesson by now, oh, it's never going to be learned.
It's a good idea.
To
Have
have
to
the legs
deal
though.
with it, Peters. what you get when you don't deal with it.
Well, that will be a corner. More pressure being piled on. And, well, the terror that walked it by night, Real Gil. He's wearing his club Sander uniform. Might suggest he's still with the club. Sitting next to Christopher Gonzalez, the Defense Force defender, and Russ Russell Jr. Oh, what a combination. They're all friends when it comes down to it. Only enemies during the match.
I tell you what, that was a chance. Snatched at it.
Certainly had a few looks, Philip Tinto, since coming on.
Ball into the box there by Arajo Wilson. Ball gets the first connection. The ball drops for Tinto. And because he took it so high up, it was always going to go up. Didn't have the time to allow it to drop. That really is the difference of where the ball ended up.
Can another direct service comes to North for Rangers. Tinto. Options and time
Bad idea.
running short. As another attempt comes to North. Oh, that will be Caledonia's ball. Carpet is the intended target. Didn't get to him. Under 5 minutes remain. Rangers comfortable in front. Chevy Morris certainly been solid. Cool. I'll chase some more shadows. Can't find a way through yet again.
That's a poor pass.
Yeah, well broken up. Seems Sylvester has found his way in the middle.
Yeah, with the flurry of defensive changes in Russell and Morris coming on. They went to back five. They joined Cyrus and they push Sylvester up to a 6. Of course, is the man that pulls the strings for Terminix Horquetta Rangers, Mr. Richard Ferguson.
Wonder if he's satisfied by what he's seen today.
I don't think he's ever satisfied. Just remember some of his interviews, despite winning, he will find some detail in there that doesn't please him.
He's kept it alive, and Price will prevent that from going out for a corner. I don't think they've won any of those.
No.
Balls they've played long, Rangers.
I don't think they're going to ever win any of those.
Well, even Bryce can invoke some confidence as he runs the clock down. Say Villanella, making sure that the goalkeeper has to pick his pace up. Now there's another one lost. Rahul Wilson running into trouble. St. Rose being tugged back. Hasn't had a bad evening, Rahul Wilson. Under 2 minutes remaining in the fixture. That has really trickled down to walking pace now. Well, look at this. Could close the door there. Oh, the upright has stopped them. Should have closed the door. But the upright coming in the way of Keyshawn St. Rose.
Yeah, good bit of football here. St. Rose did everything right, except for beating the post. And James, your view on man of the match?
Well, you've already chosen that since the first half, haven't you? Yeah, that was rough. Might give him a caution as well. Some naughty behavior from Tyrese Williams. Tariq Lee just falling awkwardly on that right shoulder of his.
Look at the tackle here. Lee cuts inside of it. That's just lazy, really. That's knee-on-knee collision, and even worse, a poor landing on his shoulder. Look a bit painful. He's never in control of his body. Certainly feeling the brunt of that. In terms of seeing all the teams now, James, there's a couple of teams, there's 4 minutes of additional time confirmed. There's a couple of teams that probably would have laid their marker down, and some probably would have picked them up. I think it's sure to say that Defense Force looks like they will be front runners again, along with AC Port of Spain. Of course, it's still very, very early, but there's nothing wrong for us to speculate.
Police certainly will have an opportunity to show their quality as well. They've made some big acquisitions this season.
It's good goalkeeping. Very good goalkeeping.
Needed him to be brave, and sure he was. He's had a good match, Jabari Bryce. Just wonder, going back a few minutes earlier, the header that went over the bar from Caledonia, what sort of match we might have been looking at then. Well, that's going to be Caledonia's ball. Rahul Wilson happy to hold on.
Yeah, there was hints of him losing his footing.
Two and some change remaining in this match. Oh, they found the head. He didn't find the target though.
That man Tinto again in the fray of things.
He's gotten some in good positions,
yeah,
since coming on.
Certainly has put some questions in the coach's notebook for a start in the next fixture.
This time the foul goes against Rangers. Scott, the man impeded. On Val. Couldn't beat the redshirt. Tinto again in another good area. Does have a keen sense of anticipation, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Reads the game well, puts himself in the position. Quite sure as he continues on his development, he will certainly get those on target. Because he has a willingness to do it. And repetition. And of course, more importantly, situational circumstances will see him improve. The more you see those type of things, the more you are in those sorts of situations, the better you get at executing. I think in that circumstance there, James, he has everything that suggests the mechanics is right to get it on target, but the final execution of technique just lets him down.
It's always different doing it under pressure.
Yeah.
There's Villanella. Well, that's it. 90 plus 4 minutes are up. Rangers pick up win number 2 for Caledonia. The search for their first points. Well, that will continue until next match week. He's only been beaten once this evening, Jabari Bryce. And saw his team ahead of him do the job. Ronell Paul making the switch to Caledonia. Hasn't had the joy and the success he's been hoping for. Tyrone Charles, another successful outing as skipper. For the other skipper, Carlisle Mitchell, more work to be done in more of a Caledonia. Time to look back now at the 90 minutes of action. One that was dominated by this man, Isaiah Lee. Look at that, the old shimmy. And, well, that was 1-0. And later, Ronell Paul, heavy challenge. Tyrese Bailey and referee Barkas gave a penalty, which Tyrone Charles did that too. And then more. Look at that, the goal of the match. Tyrone Charles to Isaiah Lee. And that was 3-0 at halftime. Cruise control. Second half though, Caledonia were back in it. Sean Bonval coming very, very close. Oh, that was opposite. And then later Bonval starting this. And luck can only be had if you purchase a ticket. That ticket getting the winning jackpot for Scott. Deflection of Daniel Cyrus just deceiving Bryce in goal. Did get some fortune. Had a chance after that to just moments later to make it 2. Didn't. And 3-0 good enough for Rangers in the end, as they win this match by 3-1. All. Big change from the first half in terms of shots. Much closer margin. 5 more shots in the second half for Caledonia, bringing them to a total of 6 shots in total. Not much more for Terminix Rangers. Fouls. Oh, this match, 20 fouls in total. That accumulated 4 yellow cards, shared evenly between the teams. 10 corners in the match, 6 of which were to Caledonia. But the all-important number 3-1 Terminix Rangers over Caledonia AIA. Oh, Leo Chin has the fun job at the moment, and it's interviewing the man who scored perhaps the best 2 goals of the match, Isaiah Lee.
Thank you, James. And yes, 2 first-half goals for Isaiah Lee wins him today's man of the match. This is yours. Isaiah, how pleased are you with your performance today?
I'm very pleased with the performance. We started off the game with high intensity, and yeah, we played our team in the first half, but in the second half we kind of dropped the intensity a little bit, but we are thankful for the victory.
Yeah, and you have started off the season on fire. 3 goals now in the first 2 games. What personal goals do you have for the season?
Personal goals for the season is to score at least 20 goals, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, all the best for the rest of the season. Brent is with the coaches.
Coach, a disappointing result at the end of the day, a spirited second half. Your assessment of the game?
Well, I think first half we made too much individual mistakes, you know, and 90% of mistakes in the game because of poor decision making, you know. I mean, the first one, the keeper kicked the ball long. The next one, we went to sleep on a set piece. So, I mean, we just make poor individual decision in the first half. And I think we did a lot better second half with the subs that we make. But overall, we have some work to do.
Yeah, talk about work to do. Of course, 2 defeats in your first 2 games. Certainly a lot of football still to be played. Some of the things you will be working on this week.
Well, definitely we still work on how you want to defend collectively. You know, individually and collectively, because sometimes individually we get it right, but then collectively not getting it right and vice versa. So it's just that and then try to put the attack together.
Thank you very much. All the best.
You're welcome.
Coach, 2 wins, 2 games so far. Happy?
Yes, happy. We came tonight to be organized. Because we know the Caledonia team is well drilled. You saw the end, second half. They were up to the task and competing, and we came out with the victory tonight.
Well, of course, 3 first half substitutions, a bit peculiar, particularly with Isaiah Lee looking so well. Was it down to injury?
Yeah, I think he rolled the ankle about in the maybe the 42nd minute. So we just had to take him off because a long season. Bring in more younger players. We have a 16-year-old on the team. Give him a little experience. And it's just to build confidence in the youngster and try and give him a little motivation. Is a talent for the future.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Coach, and all the best for the rest of the game.
Thanks.
Well, as he said, it is a long season and the matches continue. We bring you action. The Servicemen Derby, Police FC versus Defense Force Elite at the Ken Cook Ground, or as we say in Trinidad and Tobago, the Police Barracks, all right? This is where we close it off today here in La Horquetta. First game, Tiger Tanks Club Sando 1-0 over Central FC. And the matchup we just saw, Caledonia 1 goal, and of course the home team, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, coming away with 3 goals and continuing their winning streak. It's going to continue the TTPFL action. My name is Hans Devines on behalf of the entire crew. Thank you for viewing. We leave you with some moments of today's matchups.